The federal budget had a lot of cuts yesterday, but there was a little bonus for shoppers. Starting later this year, Canadians can spend a lot more money south of the border without paying duty or tax when returning home. Dana Hutchings has more in tonight's Checkpoint.
Jim, while shoppers may be rejoicing, some retailers aren't as excited, especially those that are close to the border. Let's take a look at the breakdown of the new exemptions. Starting June 1st, travelers returning from a 24-hour trip can spend $200. That's up from the current limit of $50. If you're coming home from a 48-hour absence, you can spend $800 without paying extra tax or duty. That's double the previous exemption. And the 7-day exemption is also $800. It's bumped up by $50. Aside from the ferries, there are more direct ways to get to the U.S., the Coho, the Clipper, and flights from the island as well. But the CEO of the Greater Victoria Chamber of Commerce doesn't think the new exemptions will have an impact on business here.
I think that when people go south to go shopping, if they're going to go shopping, $50 isn't enough. They're probably going for a longer period of time. Victoria is not the place for short day trips to Seattle, really. We're not designed for a 7 or 8 hour trip south. We're designed for a weekend south, and that's a whole different limit.
Of course, there is more concern among retailers on the Lower Mainland, where cross-border shopping is more prevalent. Arthi Pohl joins us live from the Peace Arch border crossing with more on the impact. Arthi?
Yeah, well, you can definitely see here that there is a long lineup right now at the Peace Arch border crossing. It is, after all, a Friday, and people do believe that maybe those lineups are going to get longer, as Canadians can now spend a lot more money in the U.S. without having to pay duty. Now, as you mentioned, of course, there are Canadian retailers who are quite concerned about this new change. I spoke with a lot of people in this particular area, and I also spoke with the Chamber of Commerce, the South Surrey White Rock Chamber of Commerce, who said this is a bad idea. Already retailers have been struggling because of 9/11, new passport rules, a struggling U.S. economy, and a high Canadian dollar. This is one more blow that's going to send shoppers across the border rather than keeping business here at home. Now, in 2011, Statistics Canada said there were 28 million trips made by Canadians across the border for a 24-hour period to go shopping, and that related to about $4.9 billion in the third quarter of 2011. That's dollars that were spent in the U.S. instead of in Canada.
Busy times ahead for sure. Thank you, Arthi. That's the CBC's Arthi Pohl reporting live from the Peace Arch border crossing tonight. Now, we want to hear from you. Our checkpoint question: will you cross-border shop more because of the increase in duty-free limits? 3 ways you can get in touch with us. You can always tweet us, CHEK_news, post on facebook.com/CHEK_news, or email checkpoint@checknews.ca. Jim, the Fed say the changes will streamline waits at the border. The exchange rate is favorable for Canadians right now, and those people who shop in the U.S. can now spend even more. Cross-border shopping has decreased a little bit in recent years, but this is expected to give it an injection. Our checkpoint question: will you cross-border shop more because of the increase in duty-free limits? Here's what shoppers in Victoria had to say.
Oh yeah, I travel with work all the time, and I'll definitely be bringing back stuff, and if anything, it'll keep Canadians more honest.
No, not one bit actually. It's the price of the ferries that's going to affect my border crossing.
I would say that it would definitely increase my cross-border shopping, most definitely. I like the outlet stores over in Bellingham, so crossing over the border and coming back would be a great day trip.
Not very much, no. I very rarely go over the border at all now. Retirement has taken its toll on me.
When I go on vacations, I'd like to take long vacations, and I really enjoy having a larger limit and bringing more back.
We make a few trips a year going south to go shopping, so it'll make a big difference to us.
Probably not. Being on Vancouver Island, it's hard to get there, expensive to get there, so not much point.
From Twitter, Ryan says, of course, no HST in the USA. From Facebook, Susan says she won't be. Who the heck can afford the ferry and gas to get there? Shop local, eat local, support your local folks has become my motto. Tana says, although a lot of stores are American-based, they are employing Canadians. Shopping in the States, you are paying the wages of Americans. And the results of our web poll: 33% say yes, they will shop more. 47% say no, this won't influence them, while 20% say it won't change the amount they shop. Again, the new exemptions take effect on June 1st. The federal government estimates the changes will actually reduce its revenue by $13 million next year. And that's tonight's Checkpoint.